Yeah, firstly, thank you very much for being on my show.
Yeah, no worries.
So,
Happy to be here.
I've gone through your profile. I can see you're into AI entrepreneurship and also software engineer, software architect, and also AI art. So, I thought to tell about this to my audience.
hmm
So, can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Sure. My name's Sam. Um, your audience might know me as AI Entrepreneur on Twitter. I started my account roughly probably 6 months ago or whatever. I was really interested in AI at the time and AI art, and I wanted to engage with the community in AI arts. And I just really found a really big interest in it. There's a lot of passionate people, very talented people in the community. Not all of them come from arts backgrounds. Some of them come from arts background, but we've all found this community with generative art, generative AI, and yeah.
And professionally, you are a software architect.
Yes, I do both software engineering and software architect. So I've done that for probably the last 10 years or so. And recently, within the last 3 months or so, I quit my full-time job to pursue entrepreneurship. So I'm working on a side project that's in the real estate space and also includes AI and generative AI in it. It's still very early, so I'm still working on it. And right now, it doesn't generate any cash flow for me. So to keep cash flow going, I do a lot of freelancing, and I currently have two freelance jobs. So I work as a senior software engineer for those two positions. One of them is actually in AI space as well too. So this company that I contract for, they use AI to facilitate lending to small businesses and medium-sized businesses. They use AI to determine if someone has the credit worthiness to lend money to.
You're from?
Mhm.
You're from which place?
I'm from where? Oh, I'm from Canada. So I live in Vancouver, Canada.
So, you are a freelance entrepreneur.
hmm Yes. So
So,
I've
yeah.
I've done that for the last 1 or 2 months. Prior to this, I worked full time, and I always work full time. So now I'm doing something a little bit different, where it's a little freelancing. It's still not quite what I want to do. Ultimately, I want to stop trading my time for money. I would love to have my own business and have um, something that just generates me money, even while I'm not working. So that's the ultimate goal right now.
So you are into software architecting and also software engineering from past 10 years. Now you're working right now on the projects that you're doing are related to artificial intelligence. And also you are an AI entrepreneur. So what is this interconnection?
Sure. So, I mean, all large systems that utilize AI nowadays have some form or some relationship with software, right? So if you think about systems like Midjourney or ChatGPT, or Stable Diffusion, for example, or any of these AI systems, right? There's still software that powers it and helps um, present it to the end users, right? So you still need to make a system um, to interface with the AI, right? So for example, with ChatGPT, you have this kind of chat window, right? That is this chat interface. So you communicate with it, you communicate with this AI bot, but there is still a lot of engineering that goes behind the scenes with the AI bot too, right? Like you need to distribute this AI bot into a cloud system, expose it through AI and APIs. APIs. So stuff like that. Specifically with what I'm doing right now with some of the companies I work with is integrating these AI systems into existing systems or new systems that exist. So the fintech company that I work with right now, they're building AI internally that kind of checks the worthiness of borrowers. And then this system needs to be integrated with banking systems, right? So that's where a software engineer or software architect comes in. We need to um, integrate that into an existing system. Usually that's through APIs and RESTful communication. And we also need to build a web or web app, etc., to expose this AI to the end users. Um, so we really just work with ML and ML engineers to help that happen. And then there's also other parts to it that facilitates AI and AI distribution as well too. There's a lot of scaling challenges with AI. Um, so there's multiple parts with it. One part is kind of like training the AI model. So we can help in those areas and make it more efficient in training AI as well. And consuming a large amount of data. So we would go and scrape data potentially or get it from other sources and make it readily available for the ML engineers and their ML models.
So the projects that you're doing in which how much artificial intelligence is being used?
With the projects that I'm working specifically, how much artificial intelligence it uses can vary and depend. Specifically, the projects I'm working, there's probably like one or two ML models available to the system, and then the rest of it is more traditional software platform that you would expect. Um, for larger systems, you can expect actually quite a bit more. So I'm also doing code review of Twitter's algorithm. So for something like a Twitter system, it's quite larger and quite more complex. So every time you post, you can actually expect it to go through at least four AI bots, even more, because they don't actually outsource they don't open source all of their AI models. So the four AI models that I'm familiar with when you post are one of them checks for abusive language, so it goes through your tweet to make sure it's not abusive. Um, there's two more AI models that will assess if there's any not safe for work content, so pornography or stuff like that. One of them checks for the text to make sure that not there's no not safe for work content, and one of it checks for the images or videos to make sure there's not safe for work content. And then there is another AI bot that checks your post to make sure that there's just not general toxicity involved with it. And then to get served data or to get served your timeline, it also goes through multiple um, AI models as well to kind of rank it, make sure make sure what is serving you is relevant to your interests as well too. So I would say that like most people interact with AI on a day-to-day basis quite often. They just don't quite realize it yet.
So as a software architect, what kind of projects you have done?
What kind of projects have done in the past?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been quite a few projects over the years. Some of the projects I've worked on in the past are um, software for utility companies. So companies that will bring you power to your house. So I've worked on projects where we kind of monitor that whole distribution, make sure there's no faults or any errors in that process. I've worked on projects related to data centers as well too. So all these cloud infrastructure stuff are just all hosted in these big data centers, and there's quite a bit of software in there to manage and maintain it as well. Um, I've worked on some software projects in the healthcare system. So during COVID, I actually worked on quite a few projects that were helping the Canadian government, specifically the BC government, help test patients as they come in, either flying in or through the land border. I've also worked, most recently, I worked in a fintech company that utilizes AI to kind of check for worthiness of a borrower. I'm also currently working on another project related to kind of Christian Bible studies. They're providing they're providing sorry, they're like providing classes to end users. So we're building them a system that will help them efficiently do that.
So as a software engineer,
As a software engineer, I've always done software engineering or software architecting.
so how it feels when you're working in different industries. One is utility project and one is related to the borders one. So how you are able to adopt.
Um, there's quite a bit of business knowledge that needs to be part of it as well too. As a software engineer, it can be hard jumping between industry to industry, but there's always other people that are more knowledgeable in the business space that you can kind of gain knowledge from. There's also processes in place that help ramp up engineers to quickly learn about this business space as well too. So it's multiple stuff. One is just gaining experience within the space. Two is working with people within the space already that are very knowledgeable and knowing already and trusting them.
So how your engineering experience made you to be a good architect, and how that architect uh, doing architecture for different projects which belongs to different industries, and trying to match that architecture for that project for those businesses, and how you are able to match the business requirements with the architectures and also using the engineering experience that you have.
Yeah, for sure. I think the engineering perspective of it really helps because it gives you a solid technical background and understanding of technology to really jump into being an architect. Um, Being an architect, I think, requires quite a bit more leadership and understanding of technology. It requires a little bit more um, customer facing skills as well too, soft skills. So you have to work with business leaders, you have to work with end customers, gather requirements, and iteratively go through the requirements. Um, and there are certain processes that you kind of learn on along the way to kind of be able to pick up on what they need exactly. And there's a lot of homework on the side as well too to get into it. So I do quite a bit of reading. I like to get certified in certain spaces. So I'm certified in Azure Cloud as an architect. And then I'm working towards being an AWS certified as well too. So these stuff help.
So combination of all this knowledge, how this is contributing to you in your artificial intelligence projects.
Yeah. So all this technical know-how helps me know what is necessary to build a system related to AI and how to integrate AI into existing systems. So most AI that people are thinking about are machine learning models and ML models, and they are their own kind of self-contained system, right? You can almost think of them as black boxes. They take in input and then they put output something. Either it's a answer or image or something generative, and then how do you take that information and then put it back into a large system, right? So that's where the architecting comes in, and that's where the engineering comes in. And then how does it integrate into that system in a way that is both maintainable, scalable, and usable for the end user? That's where the engineering architect kind of comes into the role too. And there's also, when you're working with smaller companies and in entrepreneurship, there's also some decisions to be made around AI, where you have to kind of decide, are we going to create the AI models in-house and internally, or can we purchase these through some form of API as well too? So quite a few of these ML models exist out there as a SaaS offering. Some of them are offered out there as free models as well too. You just have to download it and um, install it either on a machine or in the cloud and integrate it with your system. So those kind of decisions, those kind of integrations, you would need a engineer and an architect to help you with.
So you're also into business understanding. So what do you say about present business model, and also what is going to be the future business model since the artificial intelligence is playing a major role?
Sure. I always say this on Twitter. I don't I'm not worried about AI replacing me. I think more than likely that people who use AI will replace people who don't and don't understand it. I think in the future businesses will have AI model available to them either internally or they purchase it, and it will help efficiently make their businesses grow, um, and etc. But it's not going to be able to replace their workforce. Maybe part of it, but they will always need people there in to use the AI and integrate the AI into their existing business systems, either technology wise or through their people processes.
Can AI can do architecture, or software engineering in future? Do you think that?
I think it's going to be a huge space. I think more and more businesses are going to realize that they need some form of AI. Maybe it's AI chatbots, maybe it's generative AI, or maybe they just need AI to help them make certain decisions or whatnot. And they're going to want to integrate that into their business processes, into their existing business systems, or maybe they want to create a new system, right? So I think it's going to be integration itself is going to be a huge space, and designing and creating AI models is going to be a huge space as well in the future. Um, I mean, we're already starting to see it, but I think it's just going to pick up and gain even more traction in the future.
So you have seen 10 years of technology in your life. So you know what happened 10 years before, and you're seeing what is happening today. So how you will explain this evolution, how the technology is changing, and where we are today?
10 years ago, I believe we were just starting to get like cell phones and applications. Um, there's been quite a few technologies that came and gone since then. Um, and personally, I really don't know what's going to happen in the future. All I know is that I think AI is going to be a big part of it. Um, and it's probably going to be a big thing, as almost as big as the internet, I think.
So what you want to do as an AI entrepreneur?
Yeah, for me, I personally think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for integration, integrating AI into existing systems, utilizing AI in different spaces and areas. So, for example, I think real estate will have quite a bit of use for AI as well too. It's a very competitive space, at least in Canada, where realtors are commission based and they're always kind of jostling for customers, and it's worth quite a bit of money. So they're also willing to spend quite a bit of money to kind of promote themselves, um, generate leads for generate leads with customers. So I think generative AI has a lot of applications there. Help them maintain and manage their social media presence, help them generate material that will attract customers.
So the projects that you are doing, how that is going to impact your knowledge or your experience?
I think with most projects I'm working on now, um, they are more of a continuation of my skill sets. So I'm just honing and refining my skill sets right now.
So you are into Azure and also you are into AWS. So how AI is going to play a role in this?
We'll probably see more and more. We'll probably see more and more of the cloud providers provide some form of AI services. So I believe some of them are already starting to do it. Like AWS is already offering some services related to chat chat services using AI. We know that ChatGPT is heavily integrated with Azure space right now. So I think there's going to be a couple of things that happens. One is we're just going to see more of the cloud providers provide some form of AI services, and two, we're going to see more and more people utilize cloud for AI. Um, and it's already starting to being used in a lot of spaces. People just probably don't realize it. Like helping you manage and maintain your infrastructure. There's a lot of AI there as well too, like kind of analyze logs and anomalies in your infrastructure as well too. And like I explained it previously already, Twitter and large systems already use a lot of AI.
So software architecture that you have done. So how that is connected with artificial intelligence?
Usually, usually it's more about how we're gonna integrate AI and artificial intelligence into a system. So as an architect, there would be strategic planning of utilizing AI. So sometimes I will advise people that they can utilize existing AI systems as it exists now. So just purchase existing AI models or download existing AI models and utilize that. And as their business grows and as their system requirements grows, then they can hire internal ML experts to create a model for them. And then there's other parts of architecting a system that utilizes AI, which is integrating that into a system platform or a new platform. So you can imagine something like Midjourney. There's a lot of architecting challenges there, right? We all know that they're currently using Discord, and then they're trying to move towards using their own platform. So there will be a lot of software engineers involved and software architects involved as well too, in that type of migration. And um, they strategically made a good decision, I think. They didn't bother with a whole large system. They integrated with Discord, and it has gone very well for them so far. So
So I can understand you are very good in understanding engineering and architecture, and also you have pretty good knowledge in business uh, and the market of technology business today. So how you are able to match your technology skills with the understanding business actually in the market.
For me, I think I find the technology side of it easier. The business side is still quite hard. Still working on it, and it's really about listening to people, trying to understand what they need, um, being a part of these spaces, um, trying to understand their challenges, and then trying to think of how to use technology to solve these problems. Like one of the reasons why I'm so involved with real estate and using technology to solve real estate problems is because I've been part of a lot of online groups, either on Facebook or Twitter, that have talked about the challenges in real estate, especially in Canada and Vancouver, where house prices are extremely high. Um, I've been part of these groups for like probably 3, 4 years, or maybe even 5 years, and I really understand the challenges there, both because I've been part of the communities, and second, I've been listening to other people talk about the challenges. So at that point, it's about bringing my technology background, and seeing if I can help alleviate some of these pains.
So doing architecture or being an architect or being as an freelance entrepreneur. So you have to talk with people. You have to be great in understanding their requirements and match with the technology knowledge and skills that you have. So one side a businessman in you, and other side a engineer in you. So how you are able to be good in both?
It's very hard. Um, I'm still working on it, trying to learn to be better at it. I find I'm very nervous when I'm talking to people and customers. It's definitely not my favorite part of it, but I'm working on it. What I've found so far is like the more I do it, the more practice I do, the better I get at it. Um, and it's definitely necessary, especially even being an engineering and architect. It's incredibly useful to be have social skills, be able to communicate with people, both to gather requirements or do some form of negotiation when you like kind of have to make design decisions. Um, Not every problem can be solved elegantly. Sometimes there's some negotiation to meet requirements. And then it's incredibly important in business to just talk to customers, sell your idea, get feedback, iteratively get feedback and incorporate it back into the system that you're creating and designing. And hopefully you're able to match what people want with what you can create.
What are your technology skills?
My technology skills,
Yeah.
for me, mostly I use React and Angular in the front end. In the back end, I like to usually use .NET Core, C Sharp, or Node.js. Um, I will do either SQL or NoSQL for a repository, and then I like to use cloud technologies like Azure and AWS. Mostly I do more Azure related stuff, but I'll venture into AWS sometimes.
So communicating with the machine using these technology skills and tools, knowledge that you have, and communicating with people as an entrepreneur, as a freelancer, how is that? Which communication do you feel is tough and where you need to be logical and where you need to be emotional.
It's it's of course much easier to I always tell people it's much easier to be a developer and programmer and work on systems. It's quite a bit more easier because you can just audit and review the code and it knows what it's you know what you're looking at. It knows what it's gonna tell you. With people, it's quite more complicated.
So, but eventually, business is people. So, engineering is for people, and and doing architecture for different projects that is also going to work for people. So, how you are going to be in a very big market in future, which is going to be artificial intelligence, which is filled with people.
I would say just continuously practice communication skills. Um, as an engineer, as an architect, as someone with a technical background, it's incredibly important to learn social skills to communicate with people. Not even just like in business, but even in general as a general technology side of things, you need to work as a team with other people. You'll have to work with upper management, and then you might work with the business side, business people as well too. You might work with customers. So social skills is incredibly important. Soft skills are incredibly important. Um, Even though sometimes it's hard for engineers and to kind of be comfortable with that. And honestly, I'm not very comfortable with it either, but I just know it's a necessity, so I work on it.
So, as an AI entrepreneur, what kind of projects that you want to do?
Yeah, for me, when I started AI entrepreneur, I had a lot of on Twitter. I had a lot of ideas of what I wanted to do. I do find it hard to like find time to work on creating content for my Twitter account, but in the future, I do want to continue working on generative AI. So very interested in Midjourney and AI art. Very interested in some of these AI videos that people are created. I haven't quite had the time to play around with it yet. I have started a project where I am reviewing the Twitter source code. I find a lot of people are frustrated with the Twitter space, why they can't grow, why they are shadow banned, stuff like that. So I have found quite a bit of interest in reviewing that code and trying to understand what is Twitter, the Twitter algorithm. So I'll probably continue doing that stuff on my AI entrepreneur account. In the future, I'm also hoping to just do more review of AI technologies as well.
So, the previous skills that you have earned. So today AI is replacing a lot of things, making things easier and making saving a lot of humans effort and time, energy. So so do you think the previous skills that you have learned is going to be replaced with the machine thing, the automation?
Um, no. As an engineering as an architect, I don't think I'm gonna be replaced by AI anytime soon. Like I've said many times before, I think I think what will happen is that no one's going to be replaced by AI, but people using AI will replace people who don't know how to use it. That's part of the reason why I started the AI entrepreneur Twitter account and engaged in this AI community is because I really want to learn about these emerging technologies. Even though I have some experience with it as well too. So far, what I've done with AI art and ChatGPT large language models, I feel very confident that it's probably not going to replace any software engineers or software architects. But if you're able to incorporate that kind of stuff into your workflow, it will significantly improve your skill sets, help you move quicker and faster, um, build more quality software. I guess some of the examples I can give you are I use quite a bit of ChatGPT just for information gathering and kind of like pro con analysis on new technologies that I might or might not be familiar with. But I have used it in the past to try to code. It definitely does not generate good quality code that I can integrate into a large system. I actually find it quite hard to even generate small pieces of code and integrate it into a large system. Usually it creates something that's wrong, and it might actually take me more time to correct it than if I just do it myself. Some of the examples that I can give you are like I tried to do some integration with Twitter's API, Facebook APIs, and I tried to use ChatGPT to create this code for me, and it generated some code that kind of looked okay at first, but once I started trying to use it or debug it, I've come to realize that ChatGPT actually made up some of these API endpoints. So those endpoints did not exist. It took me some time to figure that out and then try to correct ChatGPT. So when I correct the ChatGPT, it would create some more code that looked kind of convincing, but it turns out they made up some more APIs as well too. Um, Once I finally convinced it that it was using incorrect APIs, it came back with some code that was the correct API, but then it had incorrect payload. So all of this effort to kind of like get it to do the right thing was probably significantly more than if I just did it without it. But the other parts of using AI are quite a bit more useful where it's doing research for me. So if I'm not familiar with certain systems, if I'm not familiar with certain ideologies, I would check with it and it would give me pretty good results. I would still have to maybe do a little bit more homework into it before I feel comfortable with using it in a professional sense, but it's been pretty good that way as well too. Um, Stuff like Midjourney, generative AI have been really helpful as well too. I've used it to help me create PowerPoints and presentations for customers or investors, stuff like that as well too. So, and I've used it in other spaces related to my contracting that was pretty well received as well too. I did one project with generative AI art where I created a image for every AI image for every employee for a company, uh, just as a gift to them, and that was very well received. They actually ended up extending my contract beyond my initial contract. I like to think the AI art helped. So
So you do artistic work with AI.
yeah, I quite like to do art related stuff with AI. I think it's very very awesome. I don't have much of a artistic background. I'll admit. My stick figures are quite unimpressive. So Midjourney, Midjourney and Stable Diffusion gives me quite a bit of ability to flex some of these art um, muscles that I just don't necessarily have the skills to do.
Do you have technical education? I mean, having a degree from a university.
Yeah. So I actually have a software engineering degree um, from Canada, and I would say it's not necessary to have a engineering degree or a computer science degree to get into software engineering and software architect. There are plenty of people who self-teach and self-learn, and there are also people who take boot camps, 6 to 8 month boot camps, and get into the field. But for me, I found it very useful to have that software engineering background. It gave me a really good base in everything I do.
So I personally did masters in software engineering and also bachelors in computer science and engineering. Right now, I'm doing some DevOps engineering projects, also some software development for a UK company as a freelance. Also, I took a contract with them. Apart from that, I'm doing these interviews, uh, trying to understand the business side of the technology, also trying to know different engineers and different architects, different technology experts, how they are working in technology industry in different parts of the world, not just in particular country. So it is there is the technology and the engineering and architecting is same, but the business models in countries are different.
Yeah, it's quite complicated when you start getting involved with geological stuff and government related stuff. That's also another reason why I think it's we're not very likely to get replaced by AI. Like we'll still need people involved in some way, either to utilize the AI and kind of audit and make sure that the results are correct, or it might not allow AI in certain spaces at all due to government regulations.
So a lot of your technology career went with communicating with computer. Now you're doing maybe being an architect, you may be communicating with people more in order to understand the business model. So how this engineering and architecture experience is going to helpful for you in doing the AI entrepreneurship business?
Um, so I agree that usually software engineers don't focus as much on their soft skills and communication skills. But I still think it's very important as a software engineer and as a software architect to work on those soft skills, communications. At the end of the day, you still have to work in a team environment. And if you want to get promoted and take on bigger and more interesting challenges, you'll have to start dealing with upper management and other team members and business side of things. Like there's still a lot of people that are not software engineers that you'll work with on a day-to-day basis, like project managers, scrum masters, engineering managers, etc. So I would say um, don't forget those skills as an engineer. But to answer your question about how does the background of software engineer or as a software architect help in kind of doing business related to either AI or business, any business in general, and just being more customer facing. Like I still having that background gives you the ability to execute what you need to do. It gives you the ability to um, create the architect necessarily to meet requirements and back up whatever you need to do in certain engagements, right? But the soft skills of things are very important, so don't forget them.
So how AI business works?
Um, well, from what I've seen with most AIs is that they integrate with existing systems, existing platforms, or it's a new system or a new platform, but it's still solving the same problems, right? So, for example, with the fintech company that I'm working with, they're utilizing AI to solve a existing problem already, right? Like trying to determine if someone's worthy to lend money to has been a problem that's been around for a long time, right? But introducing AI into it is something new. And I would say that's true for almost everything. It's not like AI is really creating creating something completely new and brand new. It's usually more solving existing problems more efficiently or better.
So, do you have a website?
I do not have a website right now.
So, for AI entrepreneurship, like you have tech Twitter account.
Yeah, I have my Twitter account right now. Yeah, you can find me at AI Entrepreneur on Twitter. Some of my personal projects that I'm working on that I'm hoping to blossom into a business is currently still in development, so I haven't created any personal website yet.
Do you know DevOps?
I know a little bit of DevOps. I wouldn't say I'm an expert in that area.
So, I'll share your web links in the description of this video also on my website. People who find our video on internet can able to see the work that you're doing and also can learn from what you say.
Awesome.
And what do you say about my work as an architect, as an engineer, as a freelancer, as a person who is into artificial intelligence and doing different kinds of projects for different industries?
What do I think about your YouTube work, or
Yeah,
what do I think
yeah,
about DevOps?
my
I
my
think
my YouTube work.
I think it's awesome. I think you're bringing awareness to people in the space. Not all of us really like to be in front of cameras. I definitely don't like to be in front of cameras, but this gives me an opportunity to do some of that. I think it's great what you're doing and helping kind of tell stories of people that might or might not really want to be there, but it's good for them. Besides that, I think it's great for you personally as well too. I think you'll get a lot of opportunity to meet some very interesting people. I think you've met some pretty interesting people already. This will probably do great things for your career.
Yeah, so me, like I said, my qualifications and my projects and what my profession is, I'm a DevOps engineer. Right now, I'm working for that projects and me talking with like AWS Vice President, about the services and the global infrastructure of it, and also trying to understand Salesforce Vice President, what how business works in Salesforce. And like there's the top leaders in the world trying to, and also trying to understand the space technology, trying to interview people who are working in NASA, director of, who works in NASA. So what kind of technologies that we are using in order to send satellites to the space, and what kind of mechanism that is working. So eventually everything is technology, and for machinery things that we are doing, we are using softwares in order to make that work. So trying to understand the whole thing, don't know how this is going to contribute to my career or build my skills. But this is really something which is very wide range, very top level knowledge that in early ages I'm trying to understand. So uh, how because you have been in technology for 10 plus years, you have seen uh, different projects, and you might have communicated with different types of people. So how do you define, the constant change that I'm doing in my YouTube channel, talking to a different person every time?
I think it's super interesting and important to what you're doing, and how it helps you in your career. You'll build a lot of network of people that have done a lot of interesting things, solved a lot of interesting problems, utilizing a lot of technology that will be super beneficial to you. I think in your career, like as you go along, you'll probably remember some of these conversations, and you can utilize them in the projects that you're doing as well too. And beyond just the technology and what you learn, you're also building like connections, social bonds with these people. And some of them might not blossom into anything, but some of them might be very beneficial to you in the future. You never know. One of my favorite quotes that I like to say from time to time from Steve Jobs' Stanford speech is that you can only look backwards and connect the dots to know uh, how they benefit you in the future. And then you just have to believe in something that the dots will connect for you in the future. So like for you in example, I think these will lead to some very interesting things for you in the future.
I saw that speech.
It's very good.
Thank you again.
I probably did a really bad job of explaining his connecting the dots idea, but
Yeah, what you are trying to say, I can understand. So, um, what do you say at last to the people who are watching and listening to this from anywhere in this planet, who are into technology or who are into AI entrepreneurship, and whom you want to serve, whom you want to help with the skill set that you have? What do you want to say to those people who are listening this on podcast or YouTube?
for me, I think I would just say that I think AI is going to be a huge thing in the future. Definitely, it's worth it to spend the time to learn about it, how it might help you in your current workflow. What are the limitations of it, pros and cons, and look for opportunities in those spaces because I think it's going to be huge in the future. Besides that, I think the technology space, software engineering, software architect, um, all that stuff is not going away anytime soon. I think there's always going to be a lot of opportunity there as well too. There right now there's a little bit of a downturn in the market. I have seen quite a few people having issues getting into software engineering. Usually they are recent graduates or graduating people, and that is very hard and challenging for them right now. But I think things will turn in the future, and there will be a lot of opportunity there. So don't lose hope for those people. And it gets easier and easier as over time. Once you start building the connections with people in the industry, it's quite a bit easier to find jobs.
So, can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Sure, of course. Hopefully, people find it insightful and
So,
useful.
so can I also put this audio and video clip on my podcast website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Yeah, sure.
So I hope it reaches a lot of people, and your words and your experience and your explanation and the service that you're providing will reach maximum people and can be beneficial for everyone.
Mm-hmm. I hope so too. I hope people find it insightful.
Thank you very much again for your valuable time.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.